Chapter 70. Magic Wolf Soul Essence. Sorry, I'm late. Is Shu Dahuang alright? A middle-aged man with a dark blue shirt was standing on top of an old building, and beneath his feet was a gradually fading star map. It looked dazzling. It was very clear that this person was Yang Zuohei, and should be the closest intermediate-ranked magician to this place. Fortunately, Shu Dahuang and Guo Kaitang had notified him in time. Yang Zuohei still had some lingering fears as he looked toward the renovating buildings in the flourishing commercial streets. From his position, he could see these people who were still shopping, completely unaware of the danger they were in. If the one-eyed magic wolf successfully evolved and crossed over those buildings, then no one knew what kind of living hell this commercial district would become. Yang Zuohei, who had been with the Magic Association of Bo City for so many years, had seen all kinds of magicians. Shu Dawang's hunter team knew this one-eyed magic wolf was at the stage of evolving, yet, they stood their ground and did their best to stop it. This bravery really caused one to feel a great admiration. His skin was ripped, his internal organs are fine. He's still alive, thank the heavens and earth for that. Li Wenji helped Shu Dahuang cover his chest that was coated with blood. To be honest, Li Wenji didn't quite understand Captain's kind of attitude. Could it be that his life as a magician was less important than those people? I have contacted a healing mage, and they're on their way here. Think of a way to stop Shu Dawang's bleeding. I'll take this animal's life. Yang Zuohei said. After saying this, Yang Zuohei's figure suddenly flashed. Mo Fan could only see him leaving behind a cyan-colored star path before he quickly disappeared. Moreover, with extreme speed, he approached the one-eyed magic wolf that had been washed far away by the violent wave. Mo Fan subconsciously followed this intermediate mage's path as he finally arrived at the end of the street, to find the one-eyed magic wolf covered in debris. After all, an intermediate mage's might was several times stronger than any element in the primary level. Against the one-eyed magic wolf that everyone was unable to do anything about, he was able to use the violent wave to turn it into a half-dead old dog. Thinking about it, it seemed about right. With such a ferocious wave swatting onto you, a few bones should be broken. Following the rolling, soaking, and previous attacks, even creatures with a higher strength would also directly be turned into trash on the beach. Yang Zuohei evidently did not want to let this one-eyed magic wolf, who almost became a huge threat, go that easily. He used Wind Track to land in front of the one-eyed magic wolf. Wind Disc. The sound of magic was heard. Yang Zuohei instantly transformed from a water magician into a wind magician equipped with the power of wind. A suppression that caused people to stop breathing emerged from the air. Suddenly, the surrounding air looked as though it was being pulled away from something as it began to frantically circulate. Not too far from there, Mo Fan had just arrived in time to see this intermediate mage with a dark blue shirt use a single hand to support the gathering power with all his might. Beneath his foot and above his head were bright star maps that were reflecting one another. They looked gorgeous. Whoosh! It wasn't a gentle wind like the wind track, and definitely not the same as the wind tunnel that was formed to increase one's speed. At this very moment, Mo Fan could clearly feel the churning airflow blowing forwards and circulating at high speed. In a flash, a shocking turbulent tornado emerged before them. The wind disc tornado pulled the immobile one-eyed magic wolf into the air. It drew into an arc as it circulated 20-something meters above ground. The wind disc tornado which stunned Mo Fan quickly dissipated. The one-eyed magic wolf which appeared to be like a small animal had begun to heavily drop from the high sky as the wind disc tornado had lost its force. Boom! The cement floor directly became concave as the ground formed a large crater. The one-eyed magic wolf's body was completely torn and crushed as it hit. Its blood splashed everywhere. From the beginning to the end, this thing no longer let out a domineering roar. In just 2 intermediate magic spells, the wolf had turned into an extremely mournful carcass. Dead? Mo Fan asked, finding it hard to believe. Dead. Yang Zuohei saw Mo Fan had come along, but still gave a slight smile to show his confidence. Can I go and take a look? Mo Fan asked. You can. Oh, if I'm not wrong, then the lightning strike from before should have been cast by you, right? It was me. Young man, you did well. We, the Magic Association, will join with Hunters Union and the government to give you all a commendation. Yang Zuohei patted Mo Fan's shoulder. Mo Fan approached the one-eyed magic wolf that looked nothing like its former glory as he slowly fished out the little loach pendant from his shirt pocket. The little loach had a strong reaction at the moment the one-eyed magic wolf had lost its life. It was as though it was beating a pitch no one was able to hear, as though it was shouting out for something. A strand of wolf's soul slowly floated out from the one-eyed magic wolf's mouth. Mo Fan was able to see this wolf soul. It looked like a tiny burning moth that had fluttered up from being frightened, looking unsure on where to go. A radiance emerged from the little loach pendant, and the wolf soul looked as though it had found its destination as it quickly floated over. The little loach pendant directly absorbed the wolf soul, and then let out a shivering sound. It was similar to a little child who was happy after having its food. This time, it didn't look like a soul remnant. After the little loach pendant had absorbed the wolf soul, Mo Fan suddenly realized something. Before, when the little loach pendant had absorbed the soul remnant, it basically had the weak, nearly invisible light of a firefly, and additionally, the light was particularly muddy. The little loach pendant simply had difficulty absorbing it. It had the attitude of someone who thought it was barely better than nothing. However, this time, the little loach pendant appeared very thirsty from afar. When it ate the whole wolf soul, the entire loach pendant appeared happy. Could it be that it was a soul essence this time? Thinking back on what Guo Kaiteng had said before, this one-eyed magic wolf had stealthily absorbed the colossal power from the underground holy spring of Bo City before it hid within the human city as it sneakily tried to evolve. In other words, this guy had basically received some good nourishment that had caused it to advance in strength and reach the stage where it was going to evolve. This kind of magical beast would have a very high chance of leaving behind a soul essence after its death. Only soul magicians were possessed with the ability to collect soul essence. If the intermediate magician, Yang Zuohei, didn't bring along a special soul essence gathering tool, then he wouldn't be able to see this incomparably pure soul essence. The soul essence of a dead creature would automatically dissipate after 3 minutes, and it was clear that Yang Zuohei has never collected souls before. Thus, he didn't have any interest in the carcass. Perhaps this intermediate magician never thought that the coming kid would actually carry a tool for collecting souls. Just when he had turned his back to tell others to clean up the scene, the soul essence valued at 5 million RMB had been taken away by the harmless-looking Mo Fan. The value of an one-eyed magic wolf who was on the verge of evolving was very high, but it was not as valuable as a soul essence that had only a very small chance of appearing. Chapter 71 Spirit Grade Stardust Magic Tool. Not long after, battle mages started appearing in this banyan tree-filled old residential area. Among them was a healing mage, who was currently healing Captain Shu Dawang's ripped open chest. Fortunately, Shu Dahuang was a magician, and his body had been strengthened by his stardust. If he had been a common person, he would have died on the spot. After seeing the large blood scar stretching from Shu Dawang's chest to his abdomen, Mo Fan also realized the importance of a defense spell. At the same time, he also rejoiced over the magical bone scythe shield in his hands, or else he would have died already. Mr. Yang, I think we should still sound the alert. The frequency of the appearances of the magical beasts are somewhat high. It's a bit unusual, Guo Kaiteng said to the intermediate mage, Yang Zuohei. Our magic association is already in discussion with the Hunters Union. The government is also contemplating this matter. The only thing is, we have already sounded the alert not too long ago, so sounding another one in such a short time could very easily give rise to panic, Yang Zuohei replied worriedly. A one-eyed magic wolf, a magical beast that isn't supposed to appear in the city, still appeared. Which is to say that there are some bad things happening, Guo Kaiteng retorted. Don't worry, we are already investigating this matter. We have already reinforced the safety of the city with people. There are still some bizarre situations that we are unable to deal with. That's why we still need your beast hunter teams to help, Yang Zuohei answered. We will naturally do our best, it's just the captain has suffered some injuries, thus, our actions. Guo Kaiteng trailed off. I will let a fire magician temporarily fill your captain's post until he recuperates. Speaking of which, when did your team add a new member, and it's actually a lightning mage? Yang Zuohei asked as he smiled slightly at Mo Fan. Recruited from the auditions. Recruited from the auditions? Yang Zuohei was dumbstruck as he helplessly said, It's my first time hearing of a lightning mage going to a recruitment fair. Everyone began to laugh as their gazes turned to Mo Fan. Mo Fan's performance had actually surprised everyone. When everyone thought they would get killed by the evolving one-eyed magic wolf, he used the second level of lightning strike to create a decisive event. The hunter team rejoiced over the fact that they had picked up this kind of lightning mage who was willing to move around the city with them. One had to understand that lightning mages who had grasped the second level of lightning strike were mostly employed by the large, ancestral families. Even if they were to go to the Hunters Union, Magic Association, or the government, they would still be able to freely choose a position of equivalent level. Yuang was standing there as he saw everyone's gaze lock onto that young lightning mage. He couldn't help but frown. Even if he had the light from the major ice element family, or even excelled among the peers of his age, the splendor of the lightning element would still be able to overshadow him. Kaitang, in order to prevent Fan Mo from changing jobs, how about you use your body to tie him down? In any case, he has saved your life once already, and you still don't know how to repay him, Fei Shi spoke up. Get out! Guo Kaitang's arrogant face was blushing as she viciously cursed back. On the side, Yuang's face also immediately turned increasingly gloomy. The disturbance caused by the one-eyed magic wolf had finally settled down. After changing his clothes, he returned to the school dorms. When Mo Fan was about to climb over the walls, he discovered a delicate little shadow flashing past the gate. Joman? Mo Fan was a little surprised. Why hadn't the girl returned back home to sleep? What was she doing squatting here? Mo Fan, that's good. I thought you. After Joman saw Mo Fan was safe and sound, her eyes began to tear up. Joman was, after all, a girl at the peak of her prime. She was particularly moved over the time when Mo Fan sacrificed his own life to save everyone during the practicals. However, she was unable to express herself due to her arrogant pride obstructing the way. This time, due to her grandmother's matter, she almost made Mo Fan lose his life again. Mo Fan had once more saved not only her life, but also her grandmother's, and she had no idea how to repay the kindness. As Mo Fan saw Joman was weeping, he also felt really awkward. In short, thank you for saving my grandmother. My parents are always busy, so I grew up with my grandmother. Joman continued. After consoling her for a good while, Mo Fan advised Joman to return to the female dorms. A boy sending a girl home in the late evening while the girl is crying. This scene would cause many to have ideas. After returning to the dorms, his dorm mates began to question regarding how it was. Boring, this daddy, is saving the world, all right. After everyone had gone to sleep, Mo Fan ran to the water tower on the roof of the school building. This place was Mo Fan's holy ground for cultivating. Most of the time, there wouldn't be any people disturbing him. How come the little loach pendant didn't have any reaction after eating that soul essence? It's like it is sound asleep? Mo Fan sat down on the roof of the tower as he began to talk to himself. After saying this, the little loach pendant was like an infant as it woke up. It gently trembled as it let out a blossoming radiance that covered its circumference by a finger length. This radiance looked extremely viscous. It felt like it was like a silk wrapping around the pitch-black pendant. Spinning a cocoon to use for rebirth? Seeing the little loach pendant's transformation, Mo Fan couldn't help but think of a word. In fact, the little loach pendant was slowly being wrapped in the radiance, and was indeed undergoing a transformation. Its old surface had some evident transformations appearing. It was no longer as rusty or stained. It now looked as glossy as jade. The thing which old man Ying had left for me is indeed a treasure. Mo Fan was entranced. He could distinctly feel the changes to the loach pendant. After the transformation had finished, its location on his chest was continually receiving a very comfortable flow of energy. When he was being nourished by the common grade Stardust magic tool, it was like being soaked by a spring. His entire body would smooth out from the flow of the comfortable heat. The feeling of quickly loosening up his body and mind was extremely evident. However, after the loach pendant had transformed, Mo Fan could increasingly feel like he was being covered by something unique. If he really were to describe it, it would be a soft silk. That soft silk would not be a burden to the actions performed by his body. It was tightly stuck to his entire body, causing Mo Fan, who had just gone through a big battle, to instantly feel fresh and comfortable. It was like an infant lying down on a soft baby's bed that carried serenity and peace. Mo Fan was delighted. Even though he had never seen a spirit-grade Stardust magic tool, he was still able to clearly feel that this kind of effect from the nourishment definitely belonged to a spirit-grade Stardust magic tool. Other than feeling his exhaustion was quickly dissipating, Mo Fan could feel his own stardust being showered with nourishment. This kind of feeling was like he was meditating. It is able to increase cultivation without meditating? Mo Fan was thoroughly shocked.